everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star, and today I wanted to take the time to talk about a pretty serious subject. And this is a question that comes up a lot in a lot of the reseller groups, a lot of the messages and emails I get from folks asking for advice. Should you quit your job to sell on eBay full-time or to resell on any platform full-time? And the other one is, when do I know I'm ready? So should I quit my job, or when do I know I'm ready to quit my job, is kind of different post-COVID, post-2020 than it used to be. My answer has changed a little bit, but I'm just going to talk you through what I used to say, and then I will amend it for current times, which things are a little strange right now, and they have been since COVID. The aftermath of the shutdown, what's going on with the economy right now, is making things a little more different, and your decision making needs to be a little more different. If you're already selling on eBay full-time, I'm going to be doing another video this week on basic motivation, how you need to keep yourself going, and answering the question, should I quit reselling? And so that will be for you guys that are already full-time. If you're only a part-time seller and you have a job outside of the home, this video is more for you. But I think this video can benefit everyone. So even if you're already a full-time seller, go ahead and sit back, relax, and watch the rest of this video, because I think there will be stuff in here that will pertain to you and be informative and useful for you as well. So pre-2020, pre-COVID, pre-shutdown, my advice for folks that would always ask me, should I quit my job, or how do I know when I'm ready to quit my job? I would always tell them, when you sell more and make a profit than you make at your current job, you're probably getting to where you're almost ready. And I say almost because you also need to have a savings built up. So you need to remember that you need to look at your profit and not your gross. And that's why I say profit. So you have to make enough money to cover what you're making at your job, but you want a little bit extra, because you're not going to have health insurance. You're not going to have benefits anymore. You're also going to need to make a little bit extra to cover expenses, sourcing, gas money, everything that you're going to spend money on once you're a full-time reseller is going to be more expensive than when you were a part-time seller, because you're going to be sourcing more. You're going to be spending more money on inventory. You're probably going to be driving around to more thrift stores and spending more money on gas and stuff like that. And you want to have a little bit of extra money so that you can still get insurance. You can go through the marketplace. That would be another good video I should probably do for you guys on health insurance when you're a full-time reseller or self-employed. There's a lot of really good information out there for that. And actually, I know someone who's really knowledgeable on that. So maybe I will cover that topic later and see if I can't get her on here as a guest. But anyways, so you got to take what you currently make at your job. You've got to cover that. You can't leave your job until you're making at least what you were making there, because you don't want to get behind on your bills. You don't want to struggle. You don't want to have not have enough money to get food and take care of yourself, your family, your pets, whatever your situation is. Whether you're living alone and you need to feed yourself and pay your bills, or if you have kids or 10 dogs or pigs and horses, you got to take care of yourself and everyone that you take care of. So you need to make sure that you're making at least what you made at your job, but you want to make that extra. You want to have money to be able to invest in your business. You want to be able to get health insurance. And then also, super important, there will be lean months. There will be lean weeks. There will be lean times. Sometimes sales are going to be crazy off the wall, and you're going to be making sales and money hand over fist. You're going to be selling all your high dollar stuff, and you're going to be selling at a great volume, and it's going to be amazing. But there's going to be times where you might have a day without any sales, or just a couple. And there may be times for days on end where only your lower end items and your cheaper stuff is selling. It happens. Even pre-COVID and what's going on with the world today, that happened to every reseller. So you want to make sure that you have money saved up for that as well. I always advise people to save up 6 months to 1 year of all of your expenses. If you're a longtime viewer, you guys know that I am a follower of Dave Ramsey, and I really believe everything he teaches people about money and budgeting. If you don't listen to Dave Ramsey, look him up on Google, because it's super important that you're budgeting your money and managing your finances well. And he gives really great advice on how to get out of debt, how to manage your money, how to budget, and all of that. He also advises everyone to always have that nest egg of 6 to 12 months of your expenses saved up. But what does that mean? Do you just save up 6 months of your mortgage and your car payment? No. You need to sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and figure out everything you spend money on every single month. All your bills, your grocery bills, what you spend at the store, what you spend on gas. If you have any subscriptions to streaming services, you need to include those. If you go out to eat, you need to include that. Like everything that you spend money on every single month. Do you stop for coffee in the mornings? Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you buy those? Do you buy wine? Do you buy beer? Like you got to figure out if you have pets. Are you buying pet food? Are you buying bedding for hamsters? Do you have vet bills? Do you have fees for your neighborhood where you live? Just you got to sit down and really brainstorm and figure it out. And some people will take a couple of months to figure this out and just write down every time they spend money and keep track of it that way. But once you know where you're spending money every month, bills, food, entertainment, pets, everything, you kind of have an idea of how much money you need every month. And that's what you need to save up. You need to save up 6 months of that to enable you to continue to pay your bills and stay afloat when sales are slow, or if something happens in the world, like the economy right now has affected a lot of people's sales. And if you had that nest egg, you're still able to continue to source and buy inventory, pay your bills, keep your business afloat, as well as your life afloat. So you want to have that 6 months to 1 year saved up before you quit your job. I really, really recommend it. Just because you never know when an emergency is going to happen. You never know when money's going to get tight. And if you have a nest egg to rely on, you can breathe a little easier and things don't get as scary or stressful when your sales slow down. You also aren't going to have taxes taken out of your paycheck anymore when you're self-employed. So you need to be saving that aside and making extra money to cover those as well. You should be paying them quarterly. And if you're not, you'll get a fee or a fine at the end of the year. A lot of folks choose to just take that fine, but you need to make sure you have some money saved somewhere to pay those taxes when they come due. So basically, before you quit your job, before you decide that you're going to do this full time, you need to make sure that you're making the same amount of income as you do at your job, plus a little bit extra to cover taxes and insurance and all of that. And then I recommend having 6 months to 1 year of your spending saved up. Now, part 2 of this video is going to cover the current time. So a lot has changed since COVID. The world is a little bit different. Prices on groceries are like 50% higher than they used to be. Some places I've heard reported that the groceries have doubled in cost for folks. The gas prices are astronomical. The unemployment rate is at an all-time high. And a lot of small businesses and stores and stuff like that had to go out of business during the shutdown because they just couldn't make it anymore. So a lot has changed. The economic status of America is different now. People have less disposable income, so people are shopping less. People are spending more on gas and food and everything else that they need for everyday living. They're going to have less to spend on shopping. When people start having less disposable income or having to stretch the little bit that they make further, they're not going to be shopping as much. And a lot of us have felt that in the last couple of months where sales have been slower. And you'll notice that a lot of us are selling our $10 to $15 items in a higher volume than ever before. But BOLO or luxury items aren't selling as much. Now, of course, you're always going to have people who will always have disposable income, who will always have money, that will always buy luxury items. Those people are probably not really affected by the economy and will continue to spend money and buy those items. But for the most part, a lot of resellers have seen sales get slower and had to lower prices and run sales and things to get things to move. Just because that's what people do when things are unsure or shaky in the world. The war started overseas, and that affected a lot of stuff as well. So now is probably not the time to jump into this full time. I personally think that reselling and being self-employed is the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's the best thing that's ever happened to Keith. And we've been doing it. I've been doing it full time for about 5 years, and he joined me in 2020. So he's been doing it for 2. But prior to that, he did it part-time around his real job. And we did exactly what I'm advising you to do. Unfortunately for me, I didn't have a choice. If you've been around long enough on this channel, you know I got hurt at work and I became disabled. And it was basically sink or swim. I had to find a way to make money, but I couldn't work outside of the home anymore. So I did this full time from the start, and I really dove into it and made it work. I don't advise that unless you have to. But then we spent 3 years preparing to get Keith to join me full time. So we had to replace his income, as well as making sure that we were still replacing mine that I had lost. And then we saved up our money, and we've both been doing it full time for 2 years. If you can have the freedom of working from home, working for yourself, I absolutely recommend it. It is one of the most freeing, satisfying, wonderful things that has ever happened to me. I like to tell people, becoming disabled and getting injured was probably the best, worst thing that ever happened to me, because this is what I do now. But with how unsure the world is, just make sure you've got a savings account. Just make sure that you're making enough to cover your income if you're going to quit your job and jump into this. Things are not like they used to be, so things are a little bit different, and I don't want to give the same advice as I would have 2 or 3 years ago. I especially don't, if you have kids, this may not be the time to do it. You may want to stay where you have benefits and insurance and a guaranteed solid paycheck. But if you're miserable at your job and you're making enough money to try to make this work, then, do it. But I absolutely don't advise anyone to just quit their job and jump into this willy-nilly without any money in the bank, without any savings account, without any security net. And especially if you're not making a lot of money yet. I've seen a lot of new resellers get super excited and, oh, should I quit my job? And it's like, but you've only listed 100 items and sold 20 of them. How do you think you're going to quit your job and survive? So just keep that in mind. My advice would always be to make sure you have enough money to pay for everything you need to pay for, to support yourself and your family, whatever that looks like to you. You could be single, you could have children, you could have pets that you have to take care of. But at the end of the day, just make sure that you are able to take care of yourself, your family, and everything that you need to take care of in your own home. And don't forget about insurance and taxes. If you guys have any more questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave them in the box down below. And hit the thumbs up before you leave. It really helps the channel so much. And if you haven't already and you'd like to, please subscribe to our channel. Help us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to join our Facebook group, Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. There's a link down below. Go be productive. Go make some money. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Y'all are the best. Bye.